Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. I need to roll to see where I'm watching. Fossum. Now to roll for the genre. 9 is comedy. Now to roll for the movie. 11. 11 is Bickford Schmeckler's Cool Ideas. That's certainly an interesting title. I'm gonna guess it's a wacky stoner comedy. Let's find out. Well, that was something. Bickford Schmeckler's Cool Ideas is from 2006 and was written and directed by Scott Liu. Not a stoner comedy per se, but was possibly written while high. The movie is about the brilliant oddball Bickford Schmeckler. He's a college student living in a frat house, but is most certainly not a frat bro. He's working on his magnum opus, his book of cool ideas. Only the book is more than just cool ideas. It's this amazing look at the world that can shatter the foundations of reality if you read it. One night during a toga party, he heads out of his room and accidentally leaves his door unlocked. While he's gone, his room is invaded by the super hot nymphomaniac Sarah. She's drunk, reads the book, and it blows her mind. So she takes it and gives it to her boyfriend, who throws it in the trash. Bickford then goes on a quest to try to reclaim the book, as it's passed all over his college campus. This was both good and bad. The good was, I liked the idea and seeing all the reactions to the people who read the book. They showed just enough to make you think this was some amazingly brilliant screed, but never to the point of where it spoiled itself. The cast was also terrific, which I'll touch on later. The downside was, it wasn't tremendously funny. There were moments that I was thinking was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't. There were lots of potentially wacky moments, but they played them straight, and as such, they more often than not fell flat.
What's the black spot in the middle mean?
That's my clitoris.
I'm not saying they had to make this a slapstick comedy, but choosing to play the whole thing as kinda serious, it didn't work overall, at least for me. That doesn't make it bad, but ultimately, it should really have been better. On paper, it sounds like it should be funny, but it never got more than a mild chuckle out of me. Bickford Schmeckler's Cool Ideas I really wanted to like, but it just kept feeling like it was missing something. Patrick Fugit did a good job of playing the weirdo lead. The supporting cast was also quite good. Olivia Wilde, John Cho, and Matthew Lillard. I also liked a little cameo with Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben-Garant playing cops in an homage to Reno 911. However, the film as a whole, I thought it just didn't gel. It was produced by the Weitz brothers, and so I was thinking there might be some of their magic in there, but it's a far cry from American Pie. I kept feeling like it was going somewhere and kept hoping it would eventually win me over, but it never happened. So sadly, I'm giving Bickford Schmeckler's Cool Ideas a mediocre. Really fun ideas delivered in a mid-package. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. Let's see where I'm watching. Pluto TV. Now roll for the genre. 12 is crime. Now to roll for the movie. 16. 16 is The Work Wife. Is this another Lifetime movie? We shall see. Okay, that wasn't a Lifetime movie, but I do think it was made for TV. There were several times where it faded to black, which obviously was for commercial breaks. Anyway, that doesn't mean it was bad at all, just that it was made for TV somewhere. As I discovered, there's been some pretty cool made-for-TV films over the years. They aren't all bad. Anyway, The Work Wife is from 2019 and was directed by Michael Pfeiffer. It's about Lisa and Sean. Sean's been out of work for a while and is getting ready to start a new job at an advertising agency. While there, he meets his new assistant, Jen. She lets him know that while they're at work, since they'll be spending most of their time together, he could consider her his work wife. Things are going along well, but then Jen lets Sean know that she has a crush on him. She then proceeds to try to start an affair, and when he rejects her, she does everything she can to try to mess up his life. So Sean is trying to keep Jen out of his pants because he really needs this job since he's been out of work for months. She's not going to take no for an answer, and tries repeatedly to mess things up with his wife in the hopes that he winds up in bed with her. This was entertaining, dramatic cheese. You know early on where the story's headed, and that's okay. Back around 2010, I met Serena Vincent, who played Jen. I knew her from Not Another Teen Movie. I have to say, she's one of those people who is pretty on film, but is even prettier in person. Absolutely beautiful lady and very sweet. Had a brief chat with her about Cabin Fever and a few of her other films. Anyway, Vincent plays the manipulative Jen, and wow, they went really hard on the sex appeal with her. Lots of shots of her walking away. Not that they had to try all that hard, she's lovely. They also poured her into just about every sexy dress, jeans, top, whatever they can do to amp up the appeal. I'm not complaining. She did a good job of playing crazy. She was very believable at being manipulative, and even though she showed signs of there being several screws loose,
Love you, Sean. I'll shoot you both.
I imagine there's some guys thinking, but I can fix her! Elizabeth Harnoy is also pretty, but it's funny. The movie made her a bit frumpy in the beginning, so they could emphasize how sexy Serena was. While the movie was good, you can see where it's going every step of the way. Jen flirts heavily with Sean, he blows her off. She lies and tells Lisa they're having an affair, and she believes her, etc., etc. When all that doesn't work, Jen finally goes off the rails and tries to murder them both because that's how most of these wind up. They needed a big tension-filled ending. Doesn't matter, still fun. It's like a Snickers bar. It's the exact same thing every time, but you still enjoy it because you know what you're getting. The Work Wife was a good time. Not gonna lie, a large portion of the entertainment stemmed from seeing Serena Vincent going off the rails in skin-tight outfits. What can I say? It activated that portion of my monkey brain. The movie had good pacing, and I was never bored. I liked it very much. Nothing super original, but still plenty entertaining. Sometimes, that's more than good enough. The Work Wife gets a thumbs up. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. Amazon. Now to roll for the genre. 14. 14 is drama. Now it's time to roll for the movie. 15. 15 is the way, way back. Interesting. Let's see what this is. Huh. The Way, Way Back was from 2013 and was directed by Nat Faxon and Jim Rash. For those in the audience under the age of 30, The Way, Way Back is the section of a car, usually a station wagon, that many times kids would get stuck sitting in while the family was going on vacation. The movie's about a 14-year-old kid named Duncan. He's going to stay at a beach house with his mom, her jerk boyfriend, and the jerk boyfriend's daughter for the summer. He's kind of a shy, quiet kid who gets a job for the summer working at the local water park. While at the park, the owner takes him under his wing and helps him break out of his shell. This was well done. I wasn't sure what to expect with this, and I was pleasantly surprised. In the beginning, the kid is awkward and completely talked down to by his mom's boyfriend, played by Steve Carell in a rare villain role. He was genuinely good at playing a dick. Apparently, the beginning was inspired by one of the writer's real-life experiences with his stepdad. The cast was great, with the aforementioned Steve Carell, Toni Collette, Allison Janney, Anna Sophia Robb, Amanda Peet, and Rob Corddry. Sam Rockwell totally steals the show, and Liam James was quite good as the awkward kid Duncan. I think some of you may enjoy this more than others, depending on their upbringing. If you had a lousy stepdad or were an awkward kid, you might identify with this a little more than someone else, and therefore, it may feel a little cathartic for you. Although you don't have to have had a crappy stepdad in order to appreciate the movie. I think there are plenty of themes that most of us will still identify with. Being an awkward kid, trying to find enjoyment on summer vacation, first kiss, meeting someone who becomes your mentor, and so on. There's a few sweet moments in here to counter some of the really rough ones. I think it did a good job showcasing the highs and lows of being a teenager. The only negative thing I can think of with this movie is that it takes place in that nebulous, I don't know when it is time. The music, the cars, and Everything seemed to be like it was from the 80s, but it's supposed to take place now in the 2000s? I looked into it, and apparently they wanted it to be the 80s, but had to change it because of the budget. That's okay, it's a minor thing. It just felt odd that there were so many things that made it look like it was the 80s, and then someone pulls out an iPad. It was nice to see a genuinely good film like this come along that isn't breaking the bank. Another case of how strong writing and a quality cast will beat out bloated multi-million-dollar snore fests. The Way, Way Back is a really good coming-of-age film. A very good story, and if you were an awkward kid, you probably were having some flashbacks. I'm giving it a solid thumbs up. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. HBO Max. Now to roll for the genre. 18 is sci-fi. Now it's time to roll for the movie. 1. 1 is Kong Skull Island. I've already seen that one and enjoyed it way more than I expected. So let's go to the next one, and that's Y2K. I think this is that A24 comedy. I vaguely remember a trailer for this a while ago. Well, let's see if this is what I think it is. Yep, that's what it was. Y2K is from 2024 and was directed by Kyle Mooney. It takes place in 1999 with everyone getting ready for, you guessed it, Y2K. A bunch of high school kids are having a New Year's Eve party. 2 outcasts crash the party because one kid has a crush on his friend Laura, who's going to be there. He's hoping to win her over at the party since she just broke up with her boyfriend. When the clock strikes midnight, the unexpected happens. Everything electronic turns into a murder machine, and the kids have to escape into the woods to avoid being killed. This was more or less a nostalgia-filled version of Maximum Overdrive set in the 90s. All the machines came to life, and some of them merged together to become robots. They then herded the humans into sections where they turned them into slaves. This movie didn't work as much as I hoped it would, probably due to how it was tonally all over the place. It's like they couldn't decide if they should go wacky or serious. Some movies managed to pull that off perfectly, like Shaun of the Dead, but this felt like it couldn't make up his mind. The 90s nostalgia bait felt really fake. They were relying on things that weren't accurate to the way that people acted back then. I know. I was a teenager in the 90s, so I remember how things were. And this ain't it. It's kind of like when they make a movie in the 80s and it's all pastels and neons, when really, the 80s was yellows and browns. There were really obvious mistakes within the film, like when they were in the video store and you could see the movies on the shelf that weren't even out yet. Movies like Fellowship of the Ring, which came out in 2001, and Anger Management, which was 2003. I know some of you are screaming, but I only point this out because in a movie where a huge portion of the joke is, remember the 90s? They can't even get something simple like that correct. The other weird thing was how much they wanted Fred Durst to be in the movie. The one girl's obsessed with Limp Bizkit, and so they had 2024 Fred Durst made to look like 1999 Fred Durst. Let's just say they didn't pull it off as well as other movies that de-aged their characters. Rachel Zegler played the lead love interest, Laura. Apparently the role was going to go to Jenna Ortega, but she had to back out due to a scheduling conflict. I have to say, Zegler was a lot more likable here than she was in other things. The movie kind of plodded along with all sorts of attempts at goofy 90s setups, with most things not really working. This includes the acoustic Limp Bizkit set that saves the day. No, really. They did showcase the iMac pretty prominently, which is something they got right. Although they had their download speeds way too high for the time. I think they were showing full screen streaming when back then, you had to download with Real Player, which was buffering constantly to give you a video the size of a postage stamp. I think their heart was in the right place, but it was trying too hard. I will give credit where it's due, there were a lot of practical effects, which did, at the very least, make the movie look good. I think with some tweaks, this could have been much better. However, as it stands, it was disappointing. Y2K gets a mediocre. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. Pluto TV. Now roll for the genre. 16 is fantasy. Now to roll for the movie. 14. 14 is Skinwalkers. I remember seeing trailers for this back in the day. It's a werewolf movie, but for some reason I've never seen it. Let's fix that. Okay, you have a werewolf movie with practical effects by Stan Winston Studios, the original Lara Croft model, Rona Mitra, 2 of the girls from DOA, and somehow the film is still super lackluster. Skinwalkers is from 2007 and was directed by James Isaac. Interestingly, one of the writers was James Roday, who was Sean from Psych. The movie was about a mother and her son. The kid, unknown to the mom, is half werewolf, which I have no idea how that works. I think someone watched Blade and tried to pull something out of there. So does he have all their strengths and none of their weaknesses? No, he's just a normal kid whose father was a werewolf. Although he has a hidden ability. Unknown to them, a group of good werewolves have been protecting them for years, but some bad werewolves have been hunting them and they need to kill the kid. The reason being is that the kid is prophesized to be able to stop the werewolf curse. So right off the bat, the movie has one of the most boring, overused movie cliches ever. The chosen one is a kid who will save the world unless the bad guys can kill him before his 13th birthday. The bad werewolves like their powers and enjoy eating people, while the good guys believe they're cursed and are trying to find a way to become human again. The kid can somehow cure them of their lycanthropy, but only after his 13th birthday. The bad werewolves find a town where he's been hiding, and they have a big dumb shootout with thousands of rounds fired, and almost no one gets hit. It doesn't matter though, because even though everyone's using silver bullets, the silver bullets only work if you hit the werewolf in the exact right spot where the plot calls for. So one guy can get shot in the arm and still be fine, but then another time he gets hit in the shoulder and now he's dead. We don't even see the werewolves transform until about the 45-minute mark. The film goes about how you would expect. Bad werewolves almost get the kid a bunch of times, but he keeps getting away. Then there's a big showdown, and there's more bullets fired than fur flying. The werewolves, when we do see them, look really good. However, their transformations are done via quick cuts and shaky cam. Now, full disclosure, this may not be the fault of the movie, but rather the version that I saw. Apparently, the movie was heavily cut to get a PG-13 rating when it was released in the US, while it was released with an R rating and a longer runtime elsewhere in the world. So the transformations may actually be visible in that version. It seems like they took a lot of the edge to get the lower rating. They removed the swears, nudity, and violence. Smooth move, studio. Regardless of the edit, there were still stupid moments in the film. The action scenes felt sloppy, and the scenes that were supposed to be tense dragged on to the point of where I stopped caring. Like when one of the good werewolves turns evil and another werewolf is tied up and tries to get his gun to shoot her. That scene went on for way too long. Rona Mitra was good, and I really feel like she should have had a bigger career. They did throw in a little Lara Croft moment for her, which was cool. Natasha Malth was also good as the sexy evil werewolf. My biggest complaint with the movie is, who cares? The kid can turn you back into human, but you have to get injected with his blood. So that would imply that you want to be human again. So why not just let the kid live and you can continue to be a werewolf elsewhere in the world? Is the kid going to go around forcing everyone to take his blood? It just felt dumb. Skinwalkers was disappointing. Bad cliched story, effects that would have been great if we could see them, and action that should be exciting but ultimately was dull. I'm sad. I was hoping this would be good. We don't get very many good werewolf movies. What a waste. I'm going to try to track down the international version because I'm genuinely curious to see if the different edit makes the movie better. It's happened before. However, for the PG-13 version of the film, I have to give Skinwalkers a thumbs down. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. Awesome. Now to roll for the genre. 9. 9 is comedy. Okay, now to roll for the movie. 5. 5 is coming soon. Haven't heard of this one. Let's check it out. I think there was a reason I hadn't heard of this one. Coming Soon's from 1999 and was directed by Colette Burson. It's about a high school student named Stream. She had hippie parents. Her mom's played by Mia Farrow. Stream just lost her virginity to her boyfriend, a super rich spoiled jerk named Chad. After realizing what a jerk he is, she goes looking for real love, but is having a hard time finding the right guy while surrounded by a bunch of rich idiots in a prep school in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. All her friends suck, and the only person who doesn't seem to suck is Henry, another rich guy, but he's trying to make it on his own without his parents' involvement. Although she's not sure if she likes him and doesn't realize he's cool until she sees his alt-mope rock band. Stream's looking for the right guy and dumps the premature ejaculator Chad. She, of course, isn't sure what to do, and her terrible friends aren't any help. They're too self-involved to care, but then when they start having problems of their own, the movie wants us to give a shit about them. Then in the end, Henry says the right combo of things, and Stream realizes he's the one. The movie then ends with an extended scene of Henry eating a big Montana and giving Stream the most amazing orgasm in the history of the planet. The end. So there are lots of people in their 20s who are supposed to be high school students, and a movie where people are constantly having sex, but it's fully clothed sex. Also, Ryan Reynolds has a chin beard, and somehow, he's not the one named Chad. The Chad was actually played by James Roday. This is now the second movie in a row I've rolled on that he's been involved in. I guess that's the universe telling me to watch Psych again. What a weird movie. It's like they had this idea for a teen sex comedy, but forgot the comedy. Oh, there's moments that are supposed to be funny, but they come off as just strange and uncomfortable. Like when the two friends are in the hot tub and Stream discovers she can have an orgasm sitting on one of the jet streams. Hey, sorry I just came in your pool while you were away for a minute. Then there's this scene where Ashton Kutcher, in his first role, breaks up with a girl mid-sex. Or how about the time Henry gets Stream all juiced up by talking sexy about apples? This movie felt like wasted potential. Lots of funny people early in their careers being very not funny. The plot moved at a glacial pace, the comedy wasn't funny, and pretty much the entire cast acted like superficial idiots. They try to throw in these thought-provoking moments about life, but they're so poorly written, they come off like a child's idea of being an adult. So all we're left with is spoiled rich kids doing drugs and having really awkward sex. Then talking about doing drugs and having sex. All of this could have been funny or interesting if the writing was good, but it's not even close to that. Stream was cute and likable, but that's about it. I did not like this at all. Coming Soon feels like it wanted to be smart, but with its awful dialogue and really dumbed down worldviews, it fails miserably. The movie tries to be a sort of mix of American Pie and indie alt-female sex comedy, but it drops the ball repeatedly. Unfunny, unlikable, and painfully dull. Coming Soon gets a thumbs down. Go watch Where the Boys Are 84. That's not a great movie, but it's a female-fronted teen sex comedy that'll at least give you some laughs. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. HBO Max. Now to roll for the genre. 13 is mystery thriller. Now it's time to roll for the movie. 11. 11 is Kimi. I remember a few people talking about this a few years ago. Let's see how it is. That was a pleasant surprise. I'm watching it and I kept thinking the directing is really good, and then I see that it was Soderbergh. No wonder. So Kimi is from 2022 and was directed by Steven Soderbergh. It's about Angela, played by Zoe Kravitz. She's an agoraphobic tech worker who works from home. She does tech support on a device that is essentially an Amazon Alexa, but for the movie, they called it Kimi. She listens in on private conversations and fixes tech issues people are having with the device. One day she hears what she thinks is someone being murdered, and so she tries to look more into it. This, of course, sends her down a rabbit hole as she discovers this whole conspiracy. The entire movie rested on Zoe Kravitz, and she did a great job. A good portion of the movie was her alone, so she needed to bring her A game, which I felt she did. I liked her a lot better here than in Batman. She was an interesting character, sympathetic and not annoying. Don't let the blue hair fool you. Some movies, when they have a character with some sort of social anxiety, it can be difficult to make them a character with this trait, but not annoying. Certain movies lean a little too hard into it and make the character insufferable. However, here I think they balanced it well. You felt frustrated with her instead of at her. Like all the times she wanted to leave her apartment but just couldn't. When she finally does leave the apartment, the tension goes into overdrive and wow, it was really tense. The supporting cast, the few of them that there were, fit in quite well. The story was well fleshed out too. It's kind of like an alternate retelling of Rear Window for the technology age. It's got that kernel of similarity, but overall it's quite different. Although I do think it does a disservice calling it that, but really that is just about the best way to describe it. It looks like this went direct to HBO Max, which is why I hadn't heard much about it since 2022. Just another victim of the pandemic theater shutdown, I guess. It looks like the movie cost about $3.5 million, and I applaud them for that. I really think this is more of the kind of movie we need. Smaller, focused movies with well-constructed scripts. Really happy to see another smaller budgeted film that's this good. This was a tight, engaging film, which is a reminder that many times, less is more. Kimi is a genuinely good movie. Outstanding directing and an engaging script. I enjoyed this very much. I feel like in the future, this will be one of those movies that falls into the remember life in the early 2020s? Kimi gets a big thumbs up. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. Tubi. Now to roll for the genre. 19 is horror. Now it's time to roll for the movie. 18. That was 2 really good rolls. I hope the movie's good. Anyway, 18 is Glowies. Glow in the dark zombies? I think? Okay. Glowies is from 2023 and was directed by Hank Braxton. It's about a bunch of radioactive zombies that escape from a mine they have been trapped in for years. A group of social media influencers are in the area making videos when they run into the Glowies. Then they work with a team of military vets who have been keeping an eye on the mine all these years in case the zombies ever escape. This was an odd one. A family-friendly zombie film. Sure, why not? Anyway, with Glowies, I think that they were trying to capture the vibe of something like the Goonies or Gremlins, but failed. Mostly because the kids, the influencers, were really annoying. Sure, in the old films, there was always one kid that was annoying, but with this, all of them were. Made it hard to root for them, since you just wanted them to shut up. I didn't hate the film, but I felt like it was a swing and a miss. It was a big, slimy film that could have worked with some fine-tuning. It's not even the budget. I've seen other movies that cost probably about as much as this one, and I've enjoyed them. Although it did look pretty cheap. Some things looked okay, the Glowies effect was good enough, but something was missing. Like it was a made-for-sci-fi film with none of that stupid charm that makes those movies entertaining. The CG was terrible, which can be forgiven if the movie is still fun. Like avalanche sharks. I gave the bad CG a pass because the rest of the film was entertaining. This one, not so much. The movie had some good actors in it, namely James Remar and Michael Dorn. The other cast were pretty terrible. I just didn't care for the influencers. They were obnoxious and annoying, just like real influencers. The director, Hank Braxton, did the 2018 film Snake Outta Compton. Now that, on the other hand, was hilarious. That fell right into the enjoyably bad camp and had me laughing more than a few times. Even with the bad CG in that one, it added to the package and made it funnier. The movie knew what it was and delivered on that. This seemed like it wasn't sure what it was and ended up being not as good as it could have been. Glowies is kinda dumb. This could work. I mean, I do love some good dumb films. However, this was more of the bad kind of dumb. I didn't hate it. I had a few mild chuckles, but that's about it. Bummer. Glowies gets a mediocre. If you want to see some enjoyable cheese, go check out the director's Snake Outta Compton instead. That one was dumb, but it was the right kind of dumb. Welcome to I Roll It, I Review It, where 3 dice rolls pick the movie. To start, I need to see where I'm watching. Netflix. Now to roll for the genre. 17 is action. Now to roll for the movie. 12. 12 is Project Power. I don't know what this is. I'll be right back. What a frustrating movie. It had a great idea, but terrible execution. Project Power is from 2020 and was directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman. Slightly into the future, there's a new, highly illegal drug that can give anyone a random superpower for 5 minutes. You might get super strength or become a living fireball, or things may go sideways and you just explode and die. Every time you take the pill, you never know what you're going to get. So, is there a criminal mastermind selling these on the street? No! It's a sassy teenager who pauses the film several times so she can freestyle rap. Oh, and why is she selling drugs? Say it with me. To pay for the medication for her sick mama. I swear it's like the writers of these can't do anything unless they mash in every cliche possible. Let's see. Good cop, bad cop. Sassy kid who always gets into trouble but helps save the day. Mega-powered MacGuffin that always delivers the right power when the story requires it. Corrupt police chief that works with the bad guys. Lots and lots more. It was nice to see Jamie Foxx acting again. I know he had some health issues that took him out for a while, and he looked pretty good here. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in this too, and he was his usual self. His part was pretty one-note, but that's more the fault of the script than his acting. Casey Neistat, the YouTube guy, showed up as someone who was trying to buy the drug. Apparently he's been in a few movies, which I didn't know until now. Also, Machine Gun Kelly's in this, under his real name, Carlson Baker. When I looked this up, there were a bunch of articles saying, MGK's new Netflix movie, which is funny because he's barely in it. There were a few cool action scenes with the superpowered people, and it was neat seeing whatever randomized ability they would get when they took the pill. Although they limited them to your boring basic abilities. There were at least 3 times when people got the super strong perk. Other than that, there was fire, ice, bulletproof, Wolverine, but what about flight, clones, and so many other things they could have done? They just played it safe. I thought the idea of this brief superpower maker was interesting, but they didn't do enough with it. Beyond that, I didn't care about any of the characters. They were all boring, uninspired stereotypes. There was so much unnecessary junk they could have cut out of this. It was almost 2 hours. They could have cut at least one of the freestyle raps. This isn't even about my dislike of rap. It's more that it dragged the whole film down. I would have been equally annoyed if the film was halted for any other musical genre. I will give them credit on the effects. They looked pretty neat for the most part. When Fox is fighting the guy who's on fire, that was really cool. However, there were incredibly stupid parts. Like when there's this dock that's heavily patrolled with armed guards, and the girl needs to sneak in. So she just puts up her hoodie and walks through the front gate without anyone noticing. I guess she was wearing an invisibility hoodie. There were a few pivotal moments where the main characters are backed into a corner and they have to take the pill, which then gives them exactly the power they need for that situation. There was one guy who exploded, but it was obviously done for comedic effect. I would have loved it if there was some big moment in the film where one of the heroes needed to take the pill and then blew up. That would have been unique and completely unexpected. The way most of the action shot was really sloppy. Too many quick cuts and shaky cam. Another action movie where they think the best way to shoot the action is to fling the camera all over the place. It was a disservice to the effects as you could never tell what was going on. They put some effort into them, and it was a shame because of the shoddy camera work, you could never see them. Oh, and the 5 minutes of superpowers was always as long or as short as the movie needed it to be. It always went on for just long enough or ran out at the right moment. Beyond all this, what was even the point of the drug? They get everyone addicted to this drug that gives people superpowers so they can turn them into superpowered slaves? What? Project Power was bad. A waste of a really good idea on a cliche-filled, honestly dull film. Visually striking at some points, but ultimately bland. Like a gorgeous cake covered in fondant. Sure, it looks amazing, but it tastes terrible. I had trouble finishing it. If this was something I was watching for my own entertainment, not for the review, I probably would have shut it off. I just didn't care how it ended. So when I did get to the ending, it was about what I expected, which made me even more annoyed. Mild spoiler ahead. So they rescue Art's daughter, who has this permanent power to heal anything. Instead of taking her to heal Robin's mom, they just give her a duffel bag full of drug money to pay for her treatments. That's just as good, right? I'm actually bummed because at the beginning, I was thinking this had massive potential to be something amazing. Instead, it ended up being a great idea that they absolutely squandered, and that annoyed me most of all. It's probably why I'm harsher on it than I would be a normal bad movie. If they would have taken the core idea and given this a complete rewrite, there may have been something there, but as it is, it's a gigantic waste. I'm giving Project Power a big thumbs down.